I'm Tom Pappert for The Honest Media, and today on the show via Skype I have Ricky Vaughn, a fairly famous Twitter personality who is considered by many to be an alt-right icon and a phenomenal source of news, commentary, memes, and quality banter. Vaughn, though of course that's not his real name, was banned from Twitter on October 5th with no real reason given. And within hours of the ban, he became the #1 trend on Twitter for several hours as users protested what is largely considered to be the latest step in Twitter's purge of alt-right accounts. Started, of course, when Twitter began the purge of any and everything related to Milo Yiannopoulos. Ricky, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tom. Great to be here.
So, first, I want to start by just asking a little bit about you. Why did you choose Twitter as your platform? Why do you like to remain anonymous? Why Trump? And of course, why Charlie Sheen with the MAGA hat?
Yeah, absolutely. So I chose Twitter because it is it was at the time the sort of freest flowing, free form, free speech platform. It had great personalities on there already. Sort of a fun culture, meme culture, banter culture. So that was really why I chose that. And I went with the Ricky Vaughn avatar. It was just sort of a fun thing. I didn't know that it was going to be a big account one day and have all these people following it. So it was just for fun in the beginning, a simple avatar. And I would say I'm basically voting for Trump, supporting Trump, because I think that he is not only the best on the issues in terms of the national foreign policy, immigration, trade. I also think that culturally he's a positive, sort of a pushback on this extreme left-wing movement in the Overton window, and a sort of a pushback against this stifling political correctness culture we see in media, social media, academia.
So, what is it like to be kind of thrust into the spotlight? You mentioned you never really expected to be one of the big accounts, and now that you are being silenced by Twitter, it's, the Streisand effect. I think you're going to be 10 times bigger. What's that been like for you?
It's been great. It's been great being thrust into the spotlight because, all I wanted to do is communicate with people. And if you're communicating with people on a large scale, that's great. And I was just pushing content out there that I agreed with, that I thought was good, messaging that I thought made sense, rang true, and was effective. So it was a great thing. And being banned can be sort of a blessing in disguise. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to move onto other platforms and move maybe away from the sort of pithy, short form blogging on Twitter to longer form, medium form. So we'll see what happens.
And so the ban. Now, do you have any idea from Twitter what may have provoked this decision?
Great question. No, I don't, because I did not get an email from them explaining anything, although I did file an appeal that I don't expect is going to go anywhere. So they might send me an email eventually. I doubt they'll actually give a reason. But basically, they were focusing on a handful of accounts that they want eventually, so I'm sure they found some pretext. Their rules are vague enough that they can ban anyone at any time for any reason, really. You can reply to somebody and if a lot of other people also reply, they could call that harassment or something ridiculous. So I don't really know.
And what's the reaction been like, both from the media, maybe the alternative right-leaning alt-right media, but also what's the reaction been like from your fans?
The fans have been amazing. They really are hungering for the content that I was putting out there. I got a lot of messages of support on email and Facebook and the new platform Gab and in real life. So it's been a huge outpouring of support. And, I want to hopefully continue to feed this sort of demand that people have for this sort of commentary. So hopefully launching a website soon where people can get their fix.
So you mentioned that this seems to be kind of a theme, that Twitter is banning people they disagree with and they're just kind of looking for a pretext. Can you give some examples?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They banned, obviously, Milo Yiannopoulos under sort of a phony pretext. And they're obsessed with trolls on their platform. And but the definition of troll is so vague. It could just be someone who disagrees with you and replies to a tweet you made. So they're really trying to clean this content off the platform that they don't like to see. Of course, there are other groups making the same sorts of, or even worse, inflammatory statements, but it doesn't seem to bother Twitter that much. Really, they're bothered by it because the impact is growing so fast, and we're seeing almost like exponential growth in some of these platforms where I was up to 62,000 in just 1 year. Milo Yiannopoulos, 350,000. And some of the other big accounts like Mike Cernovich has over 120,000. So they're really concerned with the people who are being the most effective.
And it seems like, you've mentioned people really want your content. People really wanted Milo's content. People really want this kind of content. What do you think the consequences of silencing all these people will be for the platform?
Well, they're going to, well, it depends on if they can silence all these other people. It's really going to push people into other platforms. Not only that, it's going to push people into real life, I think, organization locally, which is important. So we'll see. It could mean that you have more further ghettoization, where if Twitter becomes a liberal platform, then conservatives are probably going to move to a competing platform that's going to allow them to express their views, within the law. And then, so it could hurt Twitter, but they're not really a success. They're not really that successful anyway with making money. So who knows how much more could it hurt them than they've already sort of hurt themselves.
And so, a lot of this has to do with the nebulously defined hate speech that these people talk about in their community standards. I wonder if Trump wins, which I think is more and more likely by the minute, if not sooner. When Trump wins, if Trump wins, what do you think is going to happen to these platforms when what it was previously the alt-right just becomes the right?
It's a great question because culturally, you're already seeing a shift. You're already seeing more ideas that were taboo 1 year ago enter into the public discourse, which, to the dismay of many in the media and sort of in academia and the sort of cultural elite. So it's a great question. I would expect the back to continue, people expressing themselves, people considering new ideas. And I would expect it to become more normal. And I would expect the liberals to actually have to start rethinking their ideas again and start coming up with coherent defenses other than just saying it's 2016 or whatever.
Right. It's the current year. That's hate speech. You're a hateful person.
Right.
So tell us, what's your next course of action to keep building your brand and keep your presence out there?
Well, I'm on Facebook right now, on Gab. I'm doing a lot of radio interviews. And like I said, hope to launch a platform, do some blogging, do maybe some news aggregating on a website. So I'll just keep out there that way. A lot of people want to interview me on radio, so that's what I'm basically been doing for the last 2 days.
And tell us, you're on Facebook. What's your Facebook page name?
It's facebook.com/deplorable Vaughn, Vaughn.
And Gab, tell us a little bit about Gab and how to find you on Gab.
Right. So Gab is a new platform, a Twitter competitor. Similar to Twitter, they're building out new features all the time and accepting new members every day. If you want to join, you do have to sign up, and there's a waiting list because they can only accept, as they build up, their traffic that they can handle. They can only accept so many people. But it's just, and they are committed to absolute free speech, with the exception of obvious things like, death threats and that kind of thing.
Right, real hate speech, not making fun of somebody's weight or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you start a website, what's the timeline for that looking like? And do you have any idea what the address might be?
Not yet. I'm not sure on the address yet, but I would imagine within the next 2 weeks.
All right. Well, that's very exciting. And one last question. This trend of censorship, do you think at some point they have to turn around and reverse it, or is this the new normal?
It could be the new normal, depending on what happens in national political level. We'll see. I don't know if there's the political will to pass hate speech laws and end anonymity on the internet, that kind of thing. But it could happen under President Hillary Clinton.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ricky.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate it.